In the year 1991, a seismic event occurred in the geopolitical landscape as the mighty Soviet Union dissolved. It marked the end of an era characterized by superpower rivalry and ideological conflict. But as we fast forward to 2023, it's intriguing to imagine a scenario where the USSR, once a formidable global force, suddenly reunites. What shape would this resurrected Soviet Union take in the modern world? To begin our exploration, we must first consider the constituent countries that comprised the Soviet Union in its heyday. If the USSR were to reunite today, it would encompass a vast territory, including Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Moldova, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. This reincarnation would result in an expansive nation, with Russia alone boasting more land area than the entire surface of Pluto. Collectively, this modern Soviet Union would surpass the landmass of Australia, Antarctica, South America, the Arctic Ocean, and the Southern Ocean, making it larger than 3 continents, 2 oceans, and even 1 former planet. Geographically, this mammoth nation would span across 11 time zones. Hence, if it were noon in one part of the country, it would be 11 p.m. in another, highlighting the vastness and diversity of the landscape. The population of this revived Soviet Union would be a staggering 294,837,000 people, placing it as the 4th most populous nation globally, behind the United States. Interestingly, this population figure mirrors the 1991 Soviet population, illustrating a remarkable lack of growth in the region over the years. In contrast, the United States has witnessed substantial population growth, from 248,710,000 people in 1991 to nearly 340 million people today. Ethnically, the majority within this new USSR would be ethnic Russians, comprising approximately 46% of the population, while significant minorities of Ukrainians, Uzbeks, and over 100 other ethnic groups would coexist. Russian would remain the dominant language, with 58% of the population capable of speaking and understanding it, likely becoming the sole official language if a return to communism were to take place. Speaking of governance, the Communist Party of the Soviet Union would regain its role as the sole legal political party, holding a monopoly on power. The return to state-sponsored atheism would restrict public displays of religion, allowing believers to practice their faith in private or designated religious buildings. Surprisingly, despite these restrictions, a substantial religious population would exist, with only 12% claiming to be atheist or non-religious. The majority would identify as Orthodox Christians, 54%, followed by Catholics, 3%, Sunni Muslims, 24%, Shia Muslims, 3%, and a diverse array of other religions, 4%. The capital city would remain Moscow, the present capital of Russia and the largest city within the modern Soviet Union. Joining Moscow in the list of the top 5 largest cities would be St. Petersburg, renamed back to Leningrad, Kiev, Tashkent, and Minsk. Economically, this revived Soviet Union would boast a substantial GDP of $2.34 trillion, positioning it as the 8th largest economy globally. While Russia currently ranks 12th in the world, this union would outperform countries like South Korea and Canada but remain behind India and France. However, the GDP per capita would be relatively low, standing at just $6,899 per person, placing the USSR in 76th place, ahead of Bulgaria but behind China. Despite economic challenges, the Soviet military would maintain its might, with a budget of $80.4 billion, making it the 4th largest military budget globally, trailing behind Saudi Arabia, China, and the United States. This military force would include 1,436,000 active-duty soldiers, the 2nd highest number worldwide, behind China. Additionally, there would be 2,884,000 soldiers in reserves, potentially giving the Soviet military a staggering 4,320,000 soldiers in the event of mobilization, a force nearly as numerous as the entire population of New Zealand. Moreover, the USSR would possess the world's largest nuclear arsenal, with 7,300 warheads, surpassing the 6,970 American warheads. It would also become the leading oil producer globally, outstripping Saudi Arabia and the United States, with a daily production of 12,966,000 barrels. But what if we expanded our imagination and considered the incorporation of former territories of the Russian Empire into this modern Soviet Union? In such a scenario, Finland, a significant part of Poland, including the capital Warsaw, and even Alaska would be included. This expansion would raise the population to 313,496,000 people, nearly equaling the United States. The GDP would dramatically increase to $2.54 trillion, making it the sixth largest economy globally, surpassing India and France but still trailing the United Kingdom and Germany. However, despite its size and military prowess, this resurgent Soviet Union would face challenges. Its economy might struggle, and population growth remain stagnant. Relations with the United States and NATO would likely be strained, potentially reigniting a new Cold War or Cold War II with global ramifications. The geography of the modern Soviet Union would play a crucial role in shaping its interactions with the world. The historical expansion of the USSR served to create buffer states between Moscow and Western Europe, a strategic move to safeguard its heartland. Present-day Russia lacks these buffers, and its lack of ice-free deep-water ports hinders its global economic and naval influence. In conclusion, a revived Soviet Union, while a formidable presence on the global stage, may not be the superpower it once was. It would possess the world's largest nuclear arsenal, a powerful military, and dominate oil production. However, it would grapple with economic challenges, a stagnant population, and geopolitical tensions. The world would watch closely as this reimagined USSR navigates its place in the 21st century, potentially reshaping the dynamics of international politics and diplomacy.